I'd like to welcome today. Of course, this event today is about the I-295 paving project that we're doing on the road behind us here. But it's also about a much bigger initiative that we have across the entire state, improving, as you've seen, our bridges get improved drastically over the last several years. We're on the cusp of beginning a new initiative that's led by the governor to do the same thing with our paving throughout the state. We hear you. We hear that some of the roads are pretty rough out there, and we're going to get them fixed. And this is a kickoff event to do that. I'd like to certainly welcome the people here with us today: Governor McKee, Town Administrator Gold, Representative Shallcross from the legislature. You know, this is and from Jack Reed's office is here today. And, this is really this is government working the way it should. The governor listens to the concerns of the people when they say that, they're having trouble getting from Lincoln to their job in Providence on 146 or 295 because the roads are rough. And this is his response to that, getting them fixed permanently. But it also is a joint effort and coordination between our state, our local municipalities, and our federal government. At all levels of government, there are people that contributed to this effort to make this project and the other paving projects that were happening. From Washington, with our congressional delegation, led by Senior Senator Reed, bringing in federal funds to do this in the Jobs Act. And at the state level, the governor, of course, making this paving a priority in his budget that was passed by the legislature. And we, of course, have the legislature, both the House and Senate, to thank for making the local funds, the state funds that are necessary to unlock those federal funds, make it happen for projects like this. This project and others this year, we'll be investing $92 million in paving projects here in Rhode Island, and $492 million in paving over the next 5 years. We're able to be this aggressive and do this amount of work because as we enter our 7th year of roadworks, we're making a lot of good progress with fixing the bridges and taking care of some really critical safety concerns that existed before we started fixing those bridges. And now that's freeing up our resources to be able to use for other projects like this and repaving projects. In this project, we're going to repave the entire length of 295, both north and south, where we've had the most complaints about potholes and rough riding during last winter. We're going to do both north and southbound, about 40 miles of highway from Massachusetts state line all the way to where 295 merges with 95 in Warwick. The initiative to resurface the road, as I said, was a priority by Governor McKee, who's with us. We heard him. We heard the people of Rhode Island who've struggled with I-295, with 146, with 95, with 114, with 138, throughout the entire state, and we are on it. Our folks at DOT have put together a program beginning this year using the new funding coming from Washington and getting that money into the ground in good, safe riding surfaces and good infrastructure. I want to start off by talking about how paving has changed over the years too. In addition to the economics and paying attention to budgets in order to do these projects, we're also looking at the materials that we use to make sure that we use the most modern and economical new materials that are available to us, and materials that are most beneficial to the environment. The mixes that we'll be using on this project and our other projects are state-of-the-art asphalt mixes, and they're far more durable than the old ones that now our paving includes modified polymer additives to extend the life of the new pavement. Our materials labs folks at DOT have worked hard to make sure that we stay current in the new technology that's available to us, and we're, I assure you, employing all the newest of technology in these roads that we're surfacing to not only give a better riding surface, but also to allow them to last longer, thereby saving us millions upon millions of maintenance dollars into future years, 10, 20, 30 years from now. It's not only more durable, as I said, but we won't have to replace this paving surfaces as frequently as we do. We're going to be doing this project in 2 phases. The first will be from Massachusetts state line to Route 44, and the second from Route 44 to 95. And we're going to be paving both northbound and southbound. We're also cleaning and improving the drainage systems and structures and stormwater treatment units along the entire length of 295. Another way to protect the environment and keep us in compliance with very stringent and very important environmental regulations. We'll spend about $36 million on this project, and I'm telling you, just from what I've heard from the response of people so far, we've made a lot of progress on it already. It is welcome, and it is worth every penny that we're putting into it. I want to get to the point where the 50,000 vehicles a day, 50,000 vehicles a day that use this road every day say it's good and smooth, and we're getting our money's worth on this. So our thanks certainly to Governor McKee for his support, and I'd like to welcome the governor now.
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Director. Yes, and I think I was one of those phone calls about 295, just as we're coming out of the winter season, and Susan and I were headed up to the A&W up in Smithfield, and we were continually going over. They weren't potholes. They just were like little 1-inch divots in the asphalt for the whole time I was going up there. So I did call Peter up and said, we got to do something about this thing. So, and I'm certainly glad to be here with Town Administrator Gould from Lincoln, along with Rep. Shellcross from Lincoln as well, here to kind of make this announcement, because the people who travel this road every day are going to get the benefit of this investment. And the work that's continually happening is ways that we're improving our infrastructure in the state of Rhode Island, and it can't happen without the people that are actually doing the work. So I want to thank the members of the DOT team here today, along with the companies that the local companies that are going to be putting down the asphalt, right? And we think that this is part of what I've been saying for months since the time I had the State of the State address. We're going to invest in our infrastructure. We're going to invest in our jobs. Our best remedy against an economic downturn is JOBS, good paying jobs. And the challenge right now is that we have more jobs than we can fill. So we got to keep on making sure the workforce is trained and ready to do it. So this doesn't happen again. I don't have my friends from the congressional team here individually. I know Chris is here, so Chris can bring back my words of thanks to the congressional leadership. They have stepped up in a big way for us here in the state of Rhode Island, and we're going to make sure that every dollar that comes back from Washington, that we send to Washington, by the way, as it comes back, we're going to put it to good use. And this project here on DOT, I don't need to go over the details, but I'll briefly, 50,000 a day, a $36 million investment going from the state line all the way up 295, has not been repaved since 2004. That is certainly on my radar in making sure that we're We're not letting those time frames lapse any longer on infrastructure. That's part of our economy. That's part of our small business. Our business environment is our infrastructure, and we're going to make significant progress on that over the next few years with the help of DOT and all the people who are doing the work themselves. So I can assure the delegation, I don't know if Chris is still here. Is Chris still here? Does Chris take off? But anyways, I can assure the delegation that we're going to put these dollars to good use, and we're going to get value for it. And that value is going to translate into a strong economy for the state of Rhode Island. So I look forward to continuing these investments. Again, I thank the DOT not only for the work and on emergency issues like we had in the rainstorm the other day, but also the long-term strategy here of making sure our economy grows and it continues to get stronger and stronger. I get to the mic every time. We have the lowest unemployment rate in the state's history right now, and our biggest issue right now is filling jobs because there's still good paying jobs available, and we're going to turn that into an economic recovery where we no longer have to be the first in and last out of these economic downturns in the state of Rhode Island. That's certainly a commitment that I'm making, and one that we're going to make sure happens. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to my good friend here, the Lincoln Town Administrator, Phil Gould, and he's doing a great job, and I'd like to just turn the mic over and maybe you can tell us why this is important to your community, in the Blackstone Valley, by the way.
Thank you again for joining us out here and coming down to Lincoln, a great town. I have to say I'm a little biased. Lincoln owns 3 miles of 295, but it's an important 3 miles. It's right a mile up the road. We have 295 coming in from Massachusetts. This is the section of road that people see as they enter our state. I think it's important that people take pride in our roadways. I think they see that when they come and they see the work. And again, I have to say, on behalf of my residents and my business community, I thank the governor for his commitment to make sure that our infrastructure and our roadways are up to par and doing what they should be doing and making it safe for travel. So not much more on that, but I do want to thank the governor for his hard work and his commitment to our community and our business community as well. Thank you.
Well, I certainly thank you all for coming. I'd like to certainly give credit to D'Ambra Construction. Mike D'Ambra is here with us today, a local company employing local, making local jobs for workers that are working on this project. He's already ahead of schedule on the project, and he vows to me that he's going to keep it that way and get this project done on time and on budget. And we're happy to have local companies like his and the people that they employ creating the jobs in the new economy, as the governor said, for Rhode Island. So let's get the project sign unveiled, and let's get going with the rest of these projects. You take one end and I'll take the other. Ready?
Thanks for passing that budget.
Thanks, everybody.
Director, is this 40 miles going to get done this year, this season? I need you in the microphone. Take it from the microphone. Please. Not all. Hold on a second. Hold on a second.
I'll take him with the mic.
Yeah, we'll take.
I'll take him at the mic. Yep. So the project will be done between this year and next year. The Yep. The project will get done this year and next year. About half of the project this year from Massachusetts state line in running south will get done, and then next year we'll finish out with the southerly portion, and the ramps will be done next year also.
This is 36 million.
36 million.
Balance of 92 is going to other paving.
Oh yeah, we've got sections of 146. We've got 114 that we are completing as we speak. We've got 138, and we've got a list of others, a mile long, excuse the pun, we'll provide to you. Elizabeth will provide you with a complete list. Yep.
And let me just also add that, and the General Assembly, thank you, Rep. and the General Assembly leadership, on the surplus, which was the largest surplus ever managed in the state of Rhode Island. $100 million we appropriated to free up $400 million of federal money. So we didn't have to borrow a penny for the match, and that's what is going to continue to contribute to what's going on right now, because that's where the dollars are coming from. And the General Assembly approved the budget that I put in front of them, so I thank them for that.
Yep. Let me just add to that.
Apart from the 492 that you enumerated,
Say that again, please.
you said 492 million in paving projects over 5 years.
Over 5 years, yes. So, we got this funding from the federal government in terms of the Infrastructure and Jobs Act. It came to Rhode Island. We immediately poured that money. Sorry about that. We immediately poured that money into our 10-year plan and accelerated about 100 projects. We also added many paving projects onto it with additional funding we're getting. The kind of commitment that the governor has shown to this in investing and making this kind of stuff happen locally is what got us an additional another $50 million in the last 2 weeks from the federal government. The federal government watches the way all of the states use the funding that they send to us. And they saw Rhode Island, and because of the governor's initiatives, accelerating projects and immediately putting the funding that they send to us into the ground and into creating new jobs. They saw that we're doing that, and when the reapportionment time came this year, they took money from other states who weren't using it effectively and provided it to us. That $48 million is twice as much as the state of Rhode Island has ever gotten before in a reapportionment. And that's money coming to us because we're using that money effectively. And so with success comes more success.
How do you want to fix the drainage system of 295?
We've got, as part of this project and as part of every major project that we do, we make improvements to the drainage system as we do the projects themselves. And we'll be spending nearly $4 or $5 million and making improvements not only to the drainage system itself, but also to the treatment systems and making it cleaner so that we clean up the rivers and streams that are adjacent to the highway. Anything else? We're good? Thanks so much, everyone.